Yeah, this one. Hi guys, welcome to 21 Drums in Grouse Lodge. I'm sat beside the inimitable Ash Soan at his lovely Gretsch Brooklands. We're going to have a little chat and talk through the gear he uses. First of all, Ash, second year at 21 Drums. What makes this special for you?
Well, it's special because the first time I was asked, it was pretty short notice, and so I had literally no preparation, but also absolutely didn't know what to expect. And then to come down and meet all you lovely guys and all the campers then, and to meet Mike properly and Mark properly, and hang out for a week and drink just a little bit of Guinness. It was a mind-blowingly cool experience, and it's just very nice to be back here again, I have to say. And now, it's familiar. It's like putting a nice old pair of slippers back on again,
Yeah. Beautiful. I guess we'll run through what you're using, what you're sitting behind. So I guess we'll start with Gretsch. You play, generally speaking, what kit do you play at the moment?
I've got 3 broadcasters. I haven't got any Brooklyns or USA Customs. I've played them, and I get to play them a bit, but broadcast is the one that really suits me the most. But having said that, it's been really great. We've all, I think, got Brooklyns. It's really interesting to hear the different sounds we're getting out of the kits, actually. I like it. I really dig it. The snare, it's an older Gretsch snare. Do you know the range?
I think it's a new classic.
New classic, right. But it's proper, very thick ply.
Yeah.
And that's been great across the board. I've played it high and I've played it detuned, and it really responds great to it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'd like to give a shout out to Jason Mullaney, who was very kind and allowed us to use his snare. I'm sure he'll be absolutely delighted that you're enjoying your time with it.
And there's a little bit of my blood on it. I got carried away on a rock and roll tune the other day.
For you, Jason. Yeah. There you go. Moving on, I suppose, we have cymbals. We have your Zildjian set up here.
Yeah.
So again, your standard setup, what would you normally play?
Yeah, well, normally, obviously, I've got a stack that I have here, which is a Constantinople overhammered with an 18-inch Carope on top. And then I've got another Constantinople here, which will be the 22-inch Renaissance ride. Over here, swap it around 19, 18-inch Caropes sometimes. I use the A's, the new A's Series 2. Hats, I've got my old vintage A's that I play quite a bit. But I've also got Caropes and K's and vintage K's. And yeah, I mix it up a little, really. But most of the Zildjian range make me very happy. And it's, when we spoke, we talked about what cymbals, and the K range is brilliant. And you found a Constantinople for me, which is wicked.
Yeah.
So yeah, very happy with the sound of these guys too.
Fantastic. And then moving on to the skins, you're a Remo endorsee, I believe.
Yeah. Both Mark and I are Remo, yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell me what's your standard setup then for?
Well, you're complete dudes, and you found me Emperors for the top of the toms, and then coated Ambassadors for the underside. Snare is an Ambassador. Sometimes, if I want a really fat sound, I use a black dot coated. Vintage A sometimes if I'm on my smaller size snare drum when it's cranked up. But this is pretty standard for me. Emperors and A's, Ambassadors on the bottom, and then Ambassador Vintage actually on here. Yeah, it's pretty standard. A Power Stroke 3 on the bass drum coated, and a hole in the bass drum at the front. Mike, I think, has got a hole. Mark, of course, doesn't on his kit. But yeah, it's relatively standard heads, all good.
Lovely. Just on the topic of, you say you use coated heads underneath. What do you find that gives you?
It dries the drums up considerably, and controls the drums. I like that sort of that shorter sound, and I use a little bit of dampening, or a lot of dampening sometimes. But to help with the shortness of the sound, I put a dry coated head on the bottom, and yeah, it makes it much more sort of vintage, thuddy sort of noise, And I've always done it,
Lovely.
Yeah.
And last but definitely not least, the perfect pair.
Yeah, Vicks. I'm a standard Vic Firth 5A wood tip. Absolutely love them. I guess it's this is the most popular drumstick in the world, the 5A. Yeah, and I play a lot of popular music, so
there it is.
Give them a try.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Ash, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
We've had a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you, mate.